Make that 3 in a row. That's 3 in a row, Pete. We need a prize.
Not bad, not bad.
We need a prize. 3 in a row. We're trying to get this Brazil Expat Journal to you every week, guys. It's that struggle. It's between Monday and Wednesday. I actually liked Wednesday a lot. How did you feel about Wednesday, Pete?
It's actually better because I don't have any evening classes, so we can do it earlier, but we didn't do it earlier, so it really made no difference.
I know. I kept Pete up past his bedtime last Wednesday, guys. I could tell he was floundering, and I was just going.
No. It wasn't
happens.
just that. It was also just, I don't know, the subject matter was out of my depth. I mean, I live off the grid, and you're talking about how to live on the grid. I don't know how to do that. So, I mean, I really had nothing to say on that subject.
Yes.
And when it comes to geopolitics, it's actually a subject that legitimately pisses me off. So it was just better to keep my mouth shut.
I feel you. Try to escape it. And I'm generally the same, except when I'm not, which recently has been a lot less than usual because it's just stuff that affects me. I guess it's just, the lifestyle that you lead is going to kind of be the compass as to whether some of these things are important or not. And I try to live, I'm trying to get back. I'm trying to live how you're living, Pete, in about a year, living off the grid a little bit more. But as it is, I'm very much an employee somewhere with a contract and this, that, and the third. So I got to watch a bunch of stuff, including geopolitics, to make sure that I make it. Another year.
I mean, I had an issue last week where I think I told you this on WhatsApp. I don't think we talked about it on the show, but
Yes.
I applied for a job on LinkedIn, and I aced the interview. But then the next thing they sent me was a contract where I had to fill in my RNA, and you had to sign the contract through the gov.br website, which is like impossible for me. So it's like this Kafka situation where it's just like the only jobs that I can really get are ones that are, fly by night operations, which generally tend to fold in a short period of time for precisely that reason.
I totally feel you. So this is a year for you where, if possible, get this organized. And it's tough, guys. It is definitely tough. Did you know about the Despachanchi, by the way? Was that news for you? Because I totally forgot about them, and they help so much.
Yeah, no, I didn't know anything about that.
Yeah, let's see if I can help you with that, especially when my vacation's coming up in June, July. I will see if I can help you. Let's say hi. We already got some folks here. And by the way, thank you guys. I mean, the viewership, it's so crazy when we're consistent, Pete. The viewership just goes up because, you know, we average about 200, 300, when we're on constantly. Sometimes we'll hit 800, 1,000 views. But then when I disappear, it's really my fault. And it's just the schedule that I had last year was horrible. And it's like we work really hard on the show and it's like 30 views, 20 views. Like, no. So I'm really happy that the audience is coming back, that they're trusting that the show is going to be on at least once a week. Either Monday or Wednesday. We're still fighting that. So thank you guys. Please like, subscribe, share with your friends if you like what we're doing here, if this is somehow informative for you, if it helps you, which kind of ties into our guest tonight. And I was really excited to have him on. And he just recently began a YouTube channel and he's been posting a lot of his messages. And I'm like, man, I got to get this brother on. And his name is René. So I'm going to introduce him a little bit and then he's going to come on and tell us a little bit more about himself. But René is, if I get my notes right here. Let's get my notes, which should have been open. Sorry about that, René. René is Harlem-bred, globally rooted cultural entrepreneur, educator, and creative strategist known as the Global Plug. He's the co-founder and executive director of Hip Hop Loves Foundation. We'll be talking about that very shortly. A non-profit educating and empowering youth through hip hop, sports, and arts across 4 continents. a former artist, manager in the music industry, turned nonprofit leader, Renee now drives cultural impact through Hip Hop Loves Global Media and IP in RJS Enterprises, connecting communities from Rio de Janeiro to the world. Did I get all that right? Let me know, Renee. What's up, man? How are you? What's going on? Are you on? Unmute yourself, brother.
Now, all right, there we go. Hey, how you guys doing? Hey, Phil, Pete,
How are you? And high
nice.
life is. High life is.
It's good, man.
So I'm very happy to have you on, okay? Because one, I'm really enjoying these little bits of knowledge that you're offering in the expat groups because we need it. Sometimes we lose track of the simple things that just keep us sane in a country that can be so insane. So we're gonna get into that a little bit later in the show.
Sure.
But first, I want to get to who you are. Where you started, Harlem, and how did Brazil get on the map for you? What brought you here, and specifically Rio de Janeiro, right? You're in Rio right now.
Yeah, I'm in Rio.
Okay,
Yeah.
so yeah, just give it a little backstory, and then we'll get into the other stuff.
Sure. Yes, I'm René John-Sandy, co-founder and executive director of Hip Hop Loves, and CEO of RJSII Enterprises, and I'm a certified life coach. And I was raised in Harlem. My family roots are from Trinidad and Tobago in the Caribbean. And I was an artist manager in the music industry for quite some time, and I shifted to the non-for-profit sector, which is Hip Hop Loves, and our organization educates and empowers youth globally. We created workshops based off the pillars of hip hop, sports, and arts, and we use technology as a platform to connect youth globally. So we work in 4 different continents, and we have a concentration of programming that we do here in Rio de Janeiro. Brazil, to answer your questions, what drove me to Brazil was actually Hip Hop Loves.
Yeah, I was gonna ask that the way that you introduced that. I was like, I think that's what brought you here. But go ahead.
Yeah, it was totally that. So we started this organization in 2009. I had 2 other co-founders when we started this venture, and they had already been to Brazil, and they wanted to do a concert. It was a hip hop concert, and I used to do a lot of, like, co-produce concerts with like artists like De La Soul, Talib Kweli, Mos Def, Common, Pharoah Monch, and Biz Markie. And so they asked me to help just from my experience with that, and I was like, sure, let's do it. And then when we started discussing it, we were just like, well, this is cool to do a concert. People will be amped for like a couple of days, but then what's next? So then we decided to say, hey, why don't we do something more impactful and create some impact in the communities here? So that's when we decided to create doing some workshops. And so that's how everything just spun off. And then the first workshops we did were in December of 2009, and we worked with an organization called Luta pela Paz in a favela called Complexo do Maré here. And we started doing workshops there, and then just continued to do it. The organization started growing and building, and we got some opportunities, like a lot in the United States. So some of it kind of fell off of like what we wanted to do in Brazil. And we wanted Brazil to, like Rio in particular, be a flagship location for our work. And so in 2018, I said, hey, let me come back here and visit, set up some meetings, and really just like we plugged back in here. So then I did that, and then came back in 2019 and started doing more workshops and connected with some organizations. And I honestly intended to be here for 3 months and like come back and forth, and just things started moving, and just understanding, I mean, as you guys know, living in Brazil, things take time. And so, I stayed longer, and then the pandemic hit, and I really didn't have motivation to really go back to the United States at that time. And so I stayed here, and then was waiting for like the pandemic to end to just continue our work. And that just leads me to be here for now in 2026. So next week will actually be 7 years since I've been living in Brazil.
Wow. And that is usually the story, right, Pete, with a lot of the guests we have on. It was never intended to be a long trip, including myself.
Yes. No, I plan on being here for like 2 years and then moving on to Chile or Argentina or something. But yeah, you know,
I know,
shit
but
happens.
how happy are you with the fact that you stayed here, though?
I'm definitely happy. I mean, there's
Mm,
things, it definitely is an adjustment, learning a new language, learning the
yep.
bureaucracies of the country, and just getting acclimated within that. And I came here by myself, so I mean, I knew some people here, but basically,
Hmm.
this has been a journey, a solo journey. And then also, it's definitely been an interesting experience. There's been a lot of growth. The one thing I could say, I really thought I was a patient person before coming to Brazil, but
Oh
my
no.
level of patience is like 10,000.
We talked about this.
You're laughing because you know, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, what one thing that always comes to mind when I think about Brazil is the Incredible Hulk movie, where
Yes.
where Ed Norton goes to the post office and he's in and out in 5 minutes. It's like, dude, you're never in and out of the post office in 5 minutes. That's a full fucking day.
I know.
Well,
And
that
just
was funny.
oh,
It's funny.
sorry.
It's funny you mentioned about post office. So I was about to just bring up an example of something like that. Yeah, like so living in New York, obviously, or a big city, like being from Philly, like the access of going to like a bank to go to an ATM machine to withdraw
Yeah.
money or something, or do a transaction. Usually, you can be in and out within less than 5 minutes. And here, just even if I want to withdraw money or do something, that can take up to a half an hour, maybe 45 minutes, depending on.
Oh,
Hmm.
dude, on a good day. On a
Yes.
good
On a
day.
good day. Yes, on a good
And
day.
don't let it be the 5th of the month when everyone gets paid and have to
Oh
pay bills and
yeah.
stuff like that. So I try to. So sometimes my strategy is like to get to the bank at like 6:30 in the morning, 7 in the morning, if it's just an ATM thing, so I don't have to wait online. So like you just got to learn to adapt and adjust and navigate. That's the key.
Yes. Listen, I want to circle back to that because we've been talking a lot about that the last couple shows about patience down here, about
Yeah.
navigating the system. In fact, guys, listen to last week's show because it was about that. That's why Pete was like, whoa, a lot of this stuff I didn't even know with the bureaucracy down here, how to navigate it, how to get around it. So listen to last week's show. It was pretty good. We talked a lot about this. But I want to circle back to this whole topic with you a little later on so you can be real specific about it and you can
Okay.
talk about the stuff that you're doing now, which I love. But guys, if you see on the screen here, I have the Instagram page for hip hop lovers. So please share that. And I did share the link there in the comments. So you can just do a little copy and paste job. And you see right here, we have the Hip Hop Loves Foundation on YouTube. And guys, I've listened to this stuff because you've done those compilations. You sent those in the group. Is it on SoundCloud?
It's on Bandcamp, and
Yeah, it's bad. Now
Bandcamp.
you have answered a burning question for me, Renee, because
Sure.
you haven't sent those out in a while, and I must have subscribed to Band Jam just to listen to the mixes, guys. Guys, they're really good. Go there and find it. In fact, if you get that link, send it in here. And since I mean, I guess I don't know if you haven't sent a lot of them out. I always get these notifications from Band Jam. I'm like, what the hell is Band Jam?
Yeah.
And I'm totally lost. Now I know exactly what it is. And please, guys, send the link in the comments if you can. And guys, search this out. The DJ mixes that they do. Do you have that on YouTube too?
Yeah, we had some of them songs are on YouTube. Yep, and
Cool.
we use Bandcamp just because.
Bandcamp. Yeah.
Yeah, we use it because of it's very artist friendly. So
Yes.
you do have a lot of options. Like they do things like, well, like anything, they take a percentage of like your sales. But Bandcamp is very user friendly with that. I mean, very artist friendly with that. And then sometimes on
Mm-hmm.
Fridays they do like free, like you purchase something for free on Friday. The artist receives 100% of the sales. There's no
Oh,
percentage.
cool.
Yeah,
And
and it's
Nice.
very cheap. It's very
yeah,
cheap.
and
And
it's free. And
yeah. A lot of artists use it. A lot of
what's great
Cool.
about it is you could connect your payments to come to your PayPal account, and so for example, if you went
Oh,
there today
nice.
and you
Nice.
bought an album today or a song, like I would receive the money within 24 to 48 hours. So you get everything pretty much right away. So it's pretty cool. I mean, we're on all streaming platforms as well, like on all like Spotify and all that stuff too. But our
Cool.
whole point is mostly Bandcamp.
So do this. Send any of those links and put them in the public comments. Don't send it in the private ones. Send it in the public ones so people can get in. I'm trying to log in here, but it's not working, guys. So I will. So if you send the link, I'm sure it'll just open directly to the link. So that's really cool. That's really cool. And the project, like currently, you're saying it's kind of taking us. Is it slowing down? Is it picking up? Where is it right now?
Actually, on the music side of things, we're currently actually working. We haven't done an album in like about a year and a half, and I'm working on an album that's going to come out July 4th. It's called the Freedom Project, and it's actually part of a trilogy EP called the Fun Project. It's an acronym, Fun meaning freedom, unity, and nirvana. And just with everything going on in the world right now, it just felt like we want, like the artists, we have artists from like over 25 countries, 6 continents that usually connect and do these compilations. We've done 11 compilations in the last 5 years. So, and we use this as a tool, obviously, to brand the organization, to fundraise for our workshops and the programming that we do, and really just to really express that hip hop is global, and a lot of people tend to think that focus on the hip hop that's like solely in the United States, but there are a lot of really dope artists in so many different countries, and there's a lot of actual history in hip hop in a lot of different countries. Like there are a lot of hip hop pioneers, like even in Brazil, like that. There's like a rich history of hip hop. I think there's actually a hip hop museum exhibit in Sao Paulo right now that's till March 29th. That I intend to go to Sao Paulo before it ends to check that out. And so that's the reasons why we're doing the project. And this project we're really excited about. It's going to come out July 4th, kind of significant to Independence Day in America and 250 years since that. So we got a lot to say in regards to a lot of stuff. And we also have this thing called the Hip Hop Loves Microphone for Peace. And so basically the Microphone for Peace was something that we developed with an organization called Humanity and Metal. And what they do is they collect guns in different communities worldwide, and they melt the guns, and they'll give money to the people who hand in the guns, and they just use they'll use the material. So what they did is we came up with an idea to come up with an actual functionable microphone that is made out of gunmetal. And what we decided to do with it is use it and pass it around the world, like kind of like what the Olympic torch does before the Olympic ceremonies. So right now it's in the United Kingdom, and it's going to be Barcelona next month. So we're using it to do that, just to show like a voice of like, having anti-violence, having unity, and having a voice, and really standing up for peace in the world.
I love this. What's the name of this last project with the melting?
It's called the Hip Hop Loves Microphone for Peace.
Hip hop. I want to just put that in the comments here. Hip hop loves microphone for peace. And Renee was talking about the hip hop guys, the exhibit, and I don't know if it's the same one, but I did go to this one.
Yeah,
it was really cool. Very cool. Very cool. You will enjoy it. I just got a little bit of it, but it's nice to see that it really shows. I mean, these are all scenes from down here. There's a little section where they have some international artists, because of course there was a love and a conversation being had with both parties, but it's very Brazil focused, which is so cool. Because
there's so much history of hip hop in Brazil. Yes. Like I was actually talking to one of my board members here, and like about that they like she really wants to start actually just a Brazilian hip hop museum in Sao Paulo. So because there's so much history in Brazil with hip hop.
There is, and there's still folks that are active out there and really hold that torch. I was trying to find here these guys that come down to the cultural center a lot. Nego De and Aquarius. Nego De, he's been around for a long time, man, and I like that he just holds it down. He's an OG hip hop dude, and I'm not gonna find it here fast, but I got a few of his videos on here on my Instagram because he's always been very gracious and like he's been down out right here.
Nice.
I think he's gonna be there. There. Look at this.
Okay.
Oh, let me unmute that so you can hear a little bit of him. Donna, man, I love these guys. Very, very
Nice.
cool. So yes, I love that you're holding it down with that. And guys, get that band camp. I'll get all the links. I'm gonna put it in the comments and just chill back. Because the thing that I like the most about it is that it's so positive vibes, and that's another part of hip hop, which I'm sure that's a whole conversation of why
Yeah,
certain things got more focused than other things and blah blah blah. But if you are a lover of hip hop, you know that the start, beginning, everything of it is love and it's unity, and
absolutely.
it's beautiful what you're doing. So thank
Thank
you.
you.
All right, so guys, let's move on because I do want to get to know Renee the person right here. So is it okay? I mean, I'm sharing your Instagram.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
That's fine.
Uh, so you can find him there at Showboat92.
Yeah.
Okay. And I'm sure if you go into hip hop lovers, you'll find him there. And this is what he's been starting now, guys. So he just started this channel. So go there, follow him, follow him, follow him. Okay. Uh, and I hope that the channel grows. We started with this too. So thank you guys. We started with 0 and we have what, 1,200 now,
Nice.
So it can happen. And and he's a good dude and he gives these little bits of advice to just chill out. Actually, mind if you give us like a little bit, like, gratitude isn't soft, it's powerful. Like,
Yeah.
what do you mean by that?
Well, gratitude is something that I feel like a lot of we take for granted a lot of times in life, for like so much time. Like life moves so fast, and I feel a majority of the people are always focusing on what they don't have and are not thankful for what they do have. And I feel like gratitude is like a direct alignment to abundance. And when you're more thankful for what you have and you can appreciate what you have, I feel that's more of a magnet, and you can gravitate more things into your life. And like, like simple things, like I think we take for granted, like, hey, you got all your, for people who have all five senses, you have food in your fridge, you have clothes in your back, even no matter how much money you have in your bank account or in your pocket, I mean, that's something. There's some people who might have less than you and would really wish have the amount that you have, and so those are things within that. Like what this series I just started is called Reflections with Renee. That's what I
Yeah.
titled it, and so it just came up an idea. I was like, hey, I just wanted to kind of share some thoughts that I have, and sometimes what I talk to like some of my friends about, and just put it out there, just to just to the world, because I feel like if it resonates with one person, that's cool, and if it resonates with a lot of people, and it's been pretty cool, the feedback that I've received on it, like you
Yeah.
said, like people, the group I posted, a lot of people like, yo, this was timely, and I'm like, cool, because sometimes I'll just be like, I could just have a beer like at a bar, and I'll just come up with an idea, and then I just throw the idea around and then start writing, outlining something to record, and like I have like a whole bunch, and some of them that would be upcoming might be triggering to some people, just meaning on the fact that, it might touch you in a way where you might have to look with inside yourself and look at that, like looking like what maybe there's some things you need to change, or maybe the outlook of how what you have on something, you didn't really know, like with certain things. And that's all about elevation. That's all about healing. That's all about the inner work. And I feel like,
Yes. Eh,
everybody has work to do on themselves. Like I know sometimes people feel like, oh, I'm this person, I'm great. If you do therapy, which therapy or any type of like healing type of practices, they're all great. But healing, I feel, is like a lifelong process. Like it just doesn't stop. You have
yeah.
to identify that and understand that. Like you just don't become whole like just from like one session of therapy or having a session with a life coach or whatever it is you do, exercise or whatever it is, you know?
No, I feel you. And it's just a conversation sometimes. Like speaking of timely, I might have been one of those people, but if I wasn't, I definitely felt it. Especially I was looking here because I was on the shorts, and I think I saw more of the long ones here.
Yeah.
And I remember the one here that I saw is this one, start now, just start. And it hit me, man. I was like, man, Renee's throwing shade, but he's doing it so nicely, right? Because he's
And,
talking.
and we've had these kinds of conversations on the show before. We had that Canadian woman on, French
Uh
Canadian
huh.
woman,
Yes.
who's a therapist here in Brazil, and she basically said the same thing. Like, because I kind of grilled her a bit. I was like,
Mhm.
"Okay, you're a therapist, but you claim you've had patients for 9 years. Like, what are you doing wrong?" And
Uh
she
huh.
put me in my place. She's like, "No, like." It's like working out. Like if you work out, you're going to get in shape. But if you stop working out, you're gonna lose it.
Exactly. It's an ongoing process. And the thing that, wait, let me just finish here one second. It's just that thing about just start.
Yeah.
Even when it comes to something like therapy, which we've been talking about, me and Eduardo, which is really nice. It's a great conversation that we're having about it and getting back into therapy. And it's just like, why wait? Just start. And even the show, like getting back to the show, like I'm always like, oh man, let me get it just right. And and it's just like, just do it. So like very timely. But go ahead, Renee.
Yeah, no. So just even with this particular episode, and when I do these, like, I'm not doing them from a place of like I am like in this place of like in this the like let's say like I'm like this whole or complete person in regards to
Hmm.
like, this is a reflection even of myself of like even me just starting this reflections with Renee. It was just like, all right, let's start it. And am I going to be committed to it? And being honest with
Hmm.
myself, like, how committed am I going to be with it and being reasonable? Like, I do them once a week, and I was like, okay, that's my bandwidth. Let's start there. But I want to just be consistent with it. And, I don't have a whole setup. Like, I do it from my phone. And,
Hmm.
I could have easily made this use. Well, I could use another better phone or a better setup and wait and do it. And I was like, well, why wait? Just do it and just keep building off of it and improving because that's
Yes.
how everything goes. Like you talked about going to the gym or working out. Like when you go to the gym and work out, if you're not in shape, like your form, whatever you do, you're not going to be like perfect when you go to the gym, but it's a work in progress. And that's how life is. And I think like, and a lot of people will tell you like who are even successful, like they didn't know everything when they just started it. The key was that they just started it and let's like adapt and adjust along the way and stay committed and just stay disciplined with, being consistent.
Yes, I love that advice, and the consistency is important, especially if you're trying to get into the social media game. Like they
Yeah.
gift consistency. You get a lot of flowers if you're consistent, and it's cool that again to just start because yeah, I mean, I sometimes I listen back to some of the old stuff, from like 3, 4 years ago, and I'm like, oh my god, like how horrible was that? But then you know, it gets better, and then you learn a little bit more, and then you're like, okay, and then say less. I listened back to like 3 years ago, and I was like the king of and I just
Yeah.
listen, practice,
Yeah.
just stop talking, and then start talking again, right? So I don't say I just did it now. So the thing is just start, just start, just start. And that is so motivational. It's things that I think are very important. This is where I bring it back to Brazil. And I see somebody very special just came on, and we're going to say hi to him in a second. But thank you for coming on, Vic Grimes. We know who that is.
Hey, hey,
We know who that is.
good
He's a
kicker for life,
stalker.
baby.
He's a stalker, man. He when Peter doing the movie reviews, he's in there too sometimes.
He's awesome,
But
man.
no, he's a good guy. He's a good guy, despite some of his questionable choices in movies. But we forgive him for that. We forgive him. We're nice. But listen, I want to bring this back, right? Because you gave a lot of advice, and I think which was the one, man. I think it was not here. I think it was under videos. It was transactional versus authentic.
Yeah.
where I think I even commented and talked to you about like how that can be so confusing in Brazil, where you don't really know like who's real, who's fake, because it is kind of a transactional culture, but at the same time, it's a close culture. It's that thing that
Yeah.
this show is about. Is trying to
Yeah.
figure this whole thing out because it's complicated, and I don't think we'll ever have a real answer. So I want to go like go back and say how would you use this advice for somebody coming to Brazil, either as a tourist or to stay a little bit longer. But before you do that, let's see what Vic Grimes has to say. He says, "Ayo, where's this hip hop exhibit so I can check it out when I'm there?" Oh, it's in
Oh yeah,
Sespe.
Craig is
Yeah.
coming to
He is
Sao
coming to Sao
Paulo.
Paulo, guys. I
Are you
mean,
coming this
Dude,
month? Are you coming this month because it ends on the 29th?
I believe he is. I don't want to
Okay.
put all his business out there, but I believe it's gonna
Uh,
be before the end of March. So yeah,
holla at
and
me when you come down, man.
yes,
I'm
and
actually
I'll be.
coming to Sao Paulo before the end of the month too, to actually specifically to go to the exhibit. So
Oh man, it's got to be a big old get together.
yeah, absolutely, 100%.
Okay, but it's got to be on a Saturday or Sunday.
That's fine.
But it's otherwise, I'm down. That's great. That's amazing.
Yeah.
So yes, Craig is speaking of just do it. He's doing it. So yeah, let's really focus in. If we're thinking somebody coming down, like Craig coming down for the first time, how would you give this advice in a way that's very specific to that exact situation?
Well, I think there's variables with that. I mean, it depends on
Mm-hmm.
how long you're coming down for. Like, you coming to
Yes.
visit, or you coming to like, where like, some people are coming to like test the waters. Like, oh, I'm going to stay a few months to see if this is a potential land.
Let's start with the visitors, the ones that are just coming down for carnival, and maybe they're like, yeah, let me go down another time to see the Festa Junina, but they're not thinking of
I think,
staying.
well, for stuff like carnival and stuff like that, I mean, I always suggest. I mean, it's just interesting. Like, do some research. And I mean, I would say usually in a lot of networks that you have, there's probably one person you can find that went to Brazil at some point. So I would talk to them about certain things and just, the do's and do nots. I mean, I just say, come with an open mind, come with patience. Also, come with the understanding that you're coming into a whole different country with a whole different culture and a whole different system. And don't compare where you're coming from to what you're coming to. Because I feel like a lot of people come here and then they're like, well, they don't do like, we don't do this in New York, and they have this here. Like, yeah, because you're not in New York, so you have to adapt and
Mm-hmm.
have an open mind and understand. And I say one thing, just, and this is something just within life. Listen, like, listen to what people are saying, what they're talking about. Like, rather than talking all the time, listen, because you get a lot out of listening, and it's a very key tool to have in all facets of your life, business, personal, relationships. Because a lot of people tend to want to talk all the time and not even listen to what other people are saying. So, and be curious. And when you're coming down here, like, be
Yes.
curious about things. I think that's one thing to explore, because there's so much here in Brazil. Like, it's so rich in culture. It's I mean music alone. I mean, that's something I love. Like, just I'm like a big lover of samba, and I've just learned so much from that. And it's pretty interesting. I was talking to a friend from here a couple of days ago, and I was like, I
Yeah.
lived in Uberlandia which is in Minas Gerais, for a year, and just the samba culture there is so much different than in Rio. Like,
Uberlandia has samba culture?
I know. I gotta listen. I gotta get the lowdown about. I never knew you lived there because I've
Yeah,
heard of this
that's
city.
what's
This city is
up.
calling me. This city is calling me. Ever since,
Uberlandia, I highly
yeah,
suggest go visit.
yeah.
Yeah, and your vibe, Phil, I think you really like it.
That's what I'm saying. You know where I first heard it about it was this black dude at the Living Color show. Living Color did a show
Oh,
down
you
here in
went to
Sao
the show?
Paulo. Yeah, I went. I love them. I saw them in New
I
York.
love them too. I
I think
missed
this is
them
my
when they came here. Yeah.
yeah. This is my
Yeah, I
second
saw
or
them
third
open
time.
for the Stones in '89,
Oh
actually.
God, they're amazing. But anyway, so I had to go. I had to go, and then like here's more white folks at the rock shows, but there's this one black dude there, And I said hi to him, and he's telling me about Uberlândia. He's like, man, you got to go there. There's like a black culture down there. There's rock
Absolutely.
culture. Like you would love
Oh,
Yeah.
it. So
And
I gotta visit.
it's more laid back than like a Rio or Sao Paulo. I mean, like,
Yeah.
going there, like, I mean, it definitely was in Uberlandia, a place like, like Rio, Sao Paulo. You can get around people, and you can easily connect with some expats in
Yes.
both these cities where you would not in Uberlandia. And Uberlandia, you're definitely not going to meet a lot of people that speak English. So, if it's something, I mean, I know you speak Portuguese, but for people who
Hmm.
want to visit, who are looking like to looking for that protection, like, and especially people who really have the intention of learning Portuguese when they come down here, like, that's a good place to go. So, you put yourself in an environment where you're forced to learn Portuguese, like,
Yeah,
and
that's
use your
good.
tools. So, yeah. And it's
yeah.
like, you're not like Rio talking about transactional stuff like that. Like, there's like, you don't have to have your head on the swivel being concerned that someone's going to try to steal something, or a
Yes.
hustle or stuff like that. I mean, there's hustles everywhere, but it's way less. If I wanted to compare Uberlandia like to a city in America, I would say it's similar somewhat to Denver, that has kind of a low key, because they have a very like country kind of, like, they're like cowboys there. Like, you can see people riding horses in the streets in some certain areas and stuff like that, and they have these like kind of like almost like stampede type of vibe, like events and stuff like that. Like, it's really chill. And the economy actually in Uberlandia is pretty cool, because they have so many different industries, from like clay to like the
Mm.
manufacturers, like meat and all that stuff. Like, there's this whole triangle area in Minas Gerais that where there's a lot of factories and stuff like that. So, yeah, it's pretty cool.
Nice, nice, nice. Well, listen, I want to move on because we talked about people just visiting, which I love all the advice you gave, and I especially like that idea of being curious. Wait up again. All right, the idea of
Mhm.
being curious, because that leads into being an active listener. Ask questions, so you kill two birds with one stone.
Yeah.
But let's go with folks that are gonna be here a little bit longer and are really thinking about making a life down here, and maybe some things that they should be concerned with. And I love that you talked about patience, because I'm exactly like you, and I think we talked about this for a second, because I was
Yeah.
like, I'm very tolerant, but my patience level is very small. So I've grown way more tolerant down here, so I don't like kill people. But it'll test you. No,
Yeah, I mean,
it's a place.
dude,
It'll
dude,
test you. This place will test you.
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I was at the hospital last week, or no,
Yes.
sorry. Yeah, it was last week. And like this lady was bitching about the wait time for medicine at the
Hmm.
hospital. And, my Brazilian friend was with me, and he really put things in perspective, because I had the same lack of patience that she did. And I just had my eye lenses burned off with lasers, which was really inconvenient as well.
Wow.
So,
Well,
I wasn't in the most patient or best of moods, but he didn't, and he was like, "This bitch has just had like $2,000 worth of surgery done for free. Like, what the fuck is she complaining about?" So you need to put things in perspective. Like, things are slower here because there's poor infrastructure, there's not enough qualified people, there's
mm,
not enough facilities, but it does get done more or
yeah,
less.
yeah,
Eventually.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
So,
It takes longer. That's the
yeah.
thing. You're waiting a lot longer for everything, and that's something that people really need to understand.
It's so
So,
weird to talk about this, because I'm imagining people not living here. They're like, these are three drunk dudes talking about, like, you're just gonna wait, you're just gonna wait until you actually live it, and it's like, yes, it's just the reality is you're gonna
Yeah,
be
no,
waiting
dude,
a lot.
it was 6 hours. I showed up for surgery at 10 in the morning, and it took place at like 3 in the afternoon, and then I had to wait like 2 more hours for my medication, And meantime, all these other people are bitching, and I was just thankful I got it done.
I
Like,
know.
who cares
No,
if it took 6 hours?
but Brazil will give extra steps where none are needed. Like what happened to me a couple of times, where you buy a ticket to go to an event, but then you don't just walk into the event. Like you got to hand that ticket to another
Yeah.
lady who's going to give you another. And you're like, why? Why
Yeah.
is this happening?
When my brother came here to visit, he was blown away about the bar system, because I swear I've
Oh
never
yes, the
seen this
commandos. Yeah.
anywhere else, where you have to buy the card, right? You buy the
Yes.
card and they take the drinks that you buy, and
Yeah.
then you have to pay for your card when you leave the bar. And if you lose the card, it's like $1,000.
Yeah, you're
Yeah.
fucked if you lose that card, man. A lot of stressful nights for me. Anyway, Renee, go ahead, brother.
Yeah, no,
What
so
advice? What more advice you got for long timers?
I mean, I'll keep it very real. Like certain things. Number one, if you're gonna stay long term, one, you gotta understand the term gringo and understand you are a gringo because you're not from here. And there's certain things about that. There's gonna be perceptions that people have, because I've had to have a lot of conversations even with Brazilians about like living, coming from the United States, living here, because they have a lot of perceptions of what America's like just based off of media. And a lot of that is like, false narratives. And one, you just have to know, be mindful. You're going to go through a process sometimes where you might get jerked. You probably are at some point. And,
Definitely.
you got to understand that. And a lot of people are just going to perceive, since you are from America, if it's coming from America or a country like the UK or someone like Europe, where the currency exchange is different or can be, if you want to say, more favorable for you, everyone assumes that you have a lot of money. And, it's understandable, but then you have to explain to people, hey, you don't know the life that I live in America, or what I have to do, what I'm doing in America. Like like it's not that like for me, at least, I didn't come out down here for fun and games, just to hang out and, party and stuff like that. So it's very different, And if you want to do business here, it takes time. Like, I'll just give you an example. So to register my ONG or a non-for-profit here, it took about 3 years. And
It sounds about right.
yeah, but honestly, the process should only have taken like 6 months. But that goes to back again to being a gringo, linking up with someone, a lawyer, and people who are going to be trustworthy, that know what they're doing, and that. But also in the case, there's certain bureaucracies. Like, okay, so when you open up a non-for-profit here, you register. It takes at least 6 months for you to even be able to open up a bank account. Like, that's just what it is. So right then and there, I was like, how do you conduct business like that, if you can't have a bank account for a certain amount of time? But then you're supposed to be operational. So there's a level of patience with that too. And, so you just have to learn how to really adapt and adjust. And something that you just said earlier about the drink tickets and all that stuff, or like being online. So what I try to do now is kind of flip it, because I get frustrated too. Like, oh man, like, damn, I gotta wait this. Like, why is this process like this? And then I have to be like, all right, Renee, listen. Let me just be thankful that, okay, I have money to buy drinks. I'm thankful to be, I have to switch the mindset, and with
You
that,
got to. Yes.
and then be like, all right, it's cool. I'm in here. I said it could be worse. I could be mad that I wasn't able to go to this event, or I'm not able to buy this drink or something like that. So it's a lot about mindset, and again, like, just patience. Like, you have to have patience and understand, and like, just the infrastructure here in Brazil is way different than it is in a lot of the different places. And some, I think, could really get tightened up, and sometimes even like with other non-for-profit, like just talking about my sector of work, I try to help people, like some of the organizations, like, okay, well, here's a suggestion. You want to see how you want to do it this way. I don't tell them to do it, but here's another a viable way or option to do something, maybe look at that and do that. And because I think a lot of people come down here sometimes and complain about stuff, and I get it. But then, at some points I was like, okay, because I would be that person too sometimes. Like, oh man, I complain. But then I was like, but at least let me provide a solution, for it, or help put an action around it to help maybe a person in regards to that. So they can see that from a perspective. And I think doing that has been really helpful and useful, not only for myself, but just even for other people. So, because some people, we're creatures of habit. So sometimes we only know things in one way. And again, like that goes back to being open and, being curious and, seeing things from different ways and how it works. Like, but, like there's certain things here, like you guys can talk, about, like, there are things that work here that are great, like PIX, like having a payment like PIX, like that's a brilliant thing to have here. Like if that was,
It's not though. It's not, because it only works inside of Brazil. If you're trying to get payments from outside of Brazil, PIX is useless.
Yeah, I get it, but I'm just talking about Brazil. Yeah, I'm not talking outside of Brazil, but I'm just saying, like, but you can. It's a thing you can use everywhere. You can use it at a street vendor. You can use it in a supermarket. You can use it to send money to somebody. You can use it for
it's very convenient.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, it's the convenience factor of it. Like that, there's one thing. Yeah, of course, doing an international app, it's not. And
yeah, like half my business is in Chile, so like getting paid from there is a pain in the ass.
Yeah, and also talking about that, like you have to understand, you're gonna have to learn about taxes. Because like buying electronics here or getting stuff like that is expensive.
And like, time consuming.
Yeah, and you got to learn how to maneuver certain things. Like I mean, you guys know, like if you want certain things, maybe like I always have things, and I might order something in the States, and when I know a friend or someone's coming down, I'll be like, all right, can you just bring these things down for me, because it just makes it easier than me.
Yeah, but they will be taxed on those now.
Yeah,
they search you at customs.
It depends. It's a lottery, but it's a lottery you're probably gonna win. It's very rare.
Right.
Yeah.
I'll tell you this. I don't know about how it works there, but just so I'll give a little gem to some people. Like if you're like gonna bring a lot of stuff, in pertaining to Rio, don't fly directly into Rio. Fly through São Paulo, because it actually it's more.
René, before you go on, if hypothetically speaking, you ever did this, of course.
I did.
Yeah. All right. Just, because we don't want to get in trouble.
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm just saying.
In a hypothetical situation, also in a hypothetical situation, take things out of boxes, turn them on at least once, and then close them. That will.
Yeah, hypothetically, I would say that if you have someone bring something out, take the boxes out, take the manuals and all that out. Just look at it as it's something that's already been used.
Yes, it's mine. Anyway.
Go ahead. Yeah.
Well, that's great that the stuff you're saying here, because that is a little bit of what Brazil teaches you, which is what I wanted to kind of circle back to before we start closing the show, are things that Brazil taught you. But before we do that, guys, I asked Google here, how long does it take to open business in Brazil? And I love this answer, between 5 days to over 100. So if you don't learn how to be flexible, like that's a big range, it could be a week, it could be 3 months, or who knows.
It could be years.
It could be years. So,
and it also depends on, and see, this is what you got to measure. Yeah. Because you can deal with, say, if you got to deal with a lawyer or an accountant, it depends on the lawyer accountant you're dealing with that can open something in 5 days, or it takes 100 days. But on the same note, there comes a price with that. But sometimes people who you can charge the same price for someone who might just jerk you and not do the job right, but sometimes I would say don't look at certain things like pay. Sometimes it's just worth paying the extra money for a service with somebody, and if you can definitely know they're reputable, and just get it done, and you don't have to deal with it anymore, and just, because sometimes you might just do something the cheap way, and it doesn't work out that way, and then you're going to have to hire someone else to help you out, and you're still going to have to pay extra money to do that. So Just
Yeah.
do it one time, get it done. That's the one thing I will say about here. Once you get something done here, it's done. You know, like
Yeah.
then you're in, and you don't have to worry about that.
The
You know?
thing about lawyers in Brazil, like Brazilian law is so fucking complicated. I have a
Yes.
lawyer for a student. She specializes in tax law, but
Mm-hmm.
I mean, lawyers, they generally know the landscape.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I'm having the same issue with my immigration issues. I've lived here for 11 years and I'm not legal. And I have a boss who is trying to sponsor me for, legal residence,
Yeah.
not citizenship, but, legal residence. But the quagmire of lawyers she has to navigate is crazy. Like
Yes.
one person like shook her down for like 20,000 AIs,
Yes.
and that's way too much.
Yeah.
And the reason is because she's American.
Yes.
She's Brazilian, but she's a naturalized American citizen, and he just assumed like, oh, she's got tons of money.
Exactly.
So yeah, you really have to vet your lawyers because Brazilian lawyers, the best of them, I mean, they know their shit to the max.
Yes.
But there are a lot of con artists out there.
And you have to be straight up. All right. So here's one other thing, just last to say about some of this.
Yeah.
I know sometimes it can be tough. I mean, because the culture, like growing up in New York. I know we can say growing up in Philly. People are very direct about certain things. You talk very
Definitely.
direct about things, and I still do that here. But sometimes people take it as aggressive. But I have to feel that it's not. But I'm also very direct about like, listen, man, like, look, I want to get this done. I understand what it is. I understand what I am. I understand the green card. I understand. But look, this is where I'm at with it. This is where I don't think like, okay, like even like my non-for-profit. Sometimes people think my non-for-profit like makes money like the Red Cross, and like we don't have that type of funding yet, But I'm like, this is where we're at. So I'm being transparent. So treat it as such. And I want someone who's going to be trustworthy, be direct, tell me the truth. Tell me, don't sell me a dream. Don't tell me it's going to be done in 6 days when you really already know it's going to take 3 months or a year. Just be, So.
And you can find the balance of that. It's hard to find Brazilians like that, but they do exist, guys. It's a big country.
I know some really great lawyers, man.
And once you tap in, okay, so that's a good point. So when you find that, once you tap into that person or that in that field, whatever, usually that person will know and you will align with the same type of moral values in other fields. So ask that person, hey, if you need an accountant, ask them for the accountant or ask them, ask for some suggestions from them. That's how I've learned how to navigate because, I've gone through the trials and tribulations of like,
But that's how Brazil navigates because Brazil navigates on word of mouth. It's a very informal economy here. It's a very informal social situation here, and it's all word of mouth. Somebody that knows somebody that knows someone, and it becomes this big old web. So you can get caught up in that web if you're not careful.
Yes.
But also use it to your advantage. Know that is. At least, I was going to ask, things that you learned here in Brazil, things that Brazil taught you. And that's one thing that Brazil really taught me that because although, like you've been saying, like Philly, New York, that whole region, it's more or less, similar style. We know how to get around. We know how to hustle. But then you come here and you're like, whoa, it's just next level. And so Brazil taught me more toughness, more swindling, but like in a positive way, but just like to just get around the bureaucracy. We talked a lot about that last week. So it's a very special thing that Brazil taught me because I never had to use that so much in the US. Like the US has that, but you can kind of just not be part of it. And, it's whatever. You're just not part of that. But here in Brazil, it's really, 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 really hard for you to like be able to escape.
Yeah, and there's layers to it because number one, if you're a gringo, there's that layer.
Yeah.
So you gotta tap into.
Sorry, guys, I'm knocking my headphones out, but keep talking, René.
Because because then also from that perspective, I've had this conversation, like, and even doing the work, you got to develop trust, and they have to develop like, okay, why am I here doing this work? What is it in? What is it? What? Like they're gonna look at what am I getting out of it? Like am I trying to get some like money or just whatever that is, or whatever the case is, And I get it because there are people who do come down here that make money here and they don't put back into the community. They don't do anything, and some people are just straight up rude to people, and they don't care, So that there's that part. Well, on the flip side of it, we experience some of that too. That people can treat us unfairly just be so fat because we're gringo,
Mhm.
and because they might have been hurt. But then on the flip side of it, you have people who, I work with people like when I tell my stories about like sometimes some unfairness, they're like, "Listen, man, I know this shit happens here." Part of my language, but and and I'm sorry that it happened to you, and I don't want to do that to you. I'll make sure it doesn't happen to you from my perspective, for
Mhm.
what they're doing. So it's just an interesting balance, and it's just going through the experience. Like, don't be afraid to make a mistake, and if that happens, don't get so down on it. Just keep moving. Just keep moving forward, and just be strategic about it. And another thing I'll say about living here, like you have to embrace, you know, being by yourself at times too, because it's just different, and like I definitely experienced some, lonely times or just kind of adapting to certain things like that, but once you start, time goes on, you just try to get experience, like, you can be okay with that. And you can also be okay with, connecting with people and just make sure you align with people that align with who you are and your core values. And I think once that you really establish that, you start kind of also weeding away some of the other people at that with that too.
I agree with that. And I agree with that even on a different level. Those of you, because we did touch a little bit on business, we talk about business in Brazil sometimes on this channel.
Yeah.
And that's something I always gave advice to teachers to do, like raise your hourly rate. And it's scary at first. And, because there's still teachers that charge very little. And yeah, it can be scary at first, and you're like, "Oh my god, am I going to get a client? Am I not going to get a client?" But as soon as you snag that first one that's willing to pay like over 100 an hour,
Mm-hmm.
guess what? They have friends, and
Right.
then all of a sudden you have scaled up. But you got to make that first leap, and
It's knowing your value.
yes, knowing your value exactly. And Brazil taught me that, so I guess we're like in the topic already. Things that Brazil taught us. But Brazil taught me that because in the US, I didn't really have to fight that much for my value. I kind of
Yeah.
knew, like, because the America teaches your value, they kind of indoctrinate you,
Mm-hmm.
right or wrong, from a very
Yeah.
young age of like, you are the best, you are American, you are,
Yeah.
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America. I can still recite that. I'm 44
Wow.
years old and I can still recite that to a T, the Pledge of Allegiance, because it's hammered in. So the US gives you this identity of I,
Uh,
and then here in Brazil, they kind of like just totally changes you, like it humbles you a little bit, and
sure.
so you realize, hey, I'm now like I can't do things as easily as I did before. Like I work with music, and man, how many times have I quit doing music in Brazil because of just I just can't do it. Like I just can't maneuver this. I can't, like, it's just frustrating. I give up. Whereas in the US, I could put a band together in a week and be playing at a nice jazz club in Philly. The next week, it's like boom, we did it. Here it's like, what is happening, right? And
Yeah.
it gets you down. You're like, you
Yeah. And it's
get you
not
down.
on you. It's
Mm-hmm.
sometimes just on other people and how they react. Like I can relate to that. Like
Yes.
because sometimes like even like a workshop, like let's say I'll give an example. Like we were doing a
Oh.
workshop. This was years ago, and I asked a couple of people to come in and come talk and do some stuff. And when they were getting paid for it, but and I was like, okay, come. And then at the last minute before, like maybe 30 minutes or something, they sent me a message, oh, I can't do it. And I'm like, what?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like,
Damn.
Yeah,
so,
that lack of
well,
commitment.
what
Yes.
came out of it was when I spoke to them after, they were like, hey, I didn't have money to get there. And
Yeah.
and I was like,
Yes.
well, why didn't you just say that from the beginning? We could have discussed that and worked that and created a solution around you know.
Hmm.
And but I can understand sometimes there's pride. You don't want to say you don't have money, something like that. And I think sometimes it's the level of way people communicate or how people feel about certain things. And I think the way people hear sometimes that can be a little different. Like sometimes people are not as
Exactly.
direct, and sometimes it can be
Exactly.
a little bit. And I'm not generalizing everybody because that's not everybody here, but I'll just say that
Yeah.
there's certain things like where there could be levels of passive aggressiveness when it comes to certain things.
No,
And
it's the Southern European culture.
uh,
Um, I mean, Brazil's culture is like mostly derived from Spain and Portugal, and Italy is also part of that. And yeah, they're just not direct people. Like
yeah,
they don't tell you what's on their mind. You know, they expect that you're going to pick up on it. And
Yes.
us as North Americans, we're used to like pretty much putting things out there, like saying how we feel. And
it's important.
yeah, South Americans are not like that
I
because
think
they're
we talked
mostly
about that. We talked about that a few weeks back. Low context versus high context
yeah.
cultures, things like that. Yeah, and that's one thing that I had to learn here. What that made me resilient is just figuring all that out. Because in the back of my mind, I was like, no, like it's something more.
Yeah.
It's not me or what's going
Uh,
on. And then I started to listen. So like circling back to that wonderful thing
yeah.
that you said about listening. So I stopped talking as much and was like, let me see how Brazilians communicate. Like how are they all getting along and not fighting all the time and getting together on the right date at the right sort of time and what's going like I wanted to understand that, so I just stopped and started listening, and then I started to get it, and then things start to flourish. um
Some
Give
of
me
that,
some.
but one quick
Yeah,
thing with that.
go
Some
ahead,
of
go.
that, that comes sometimes also with even when it becomes conflict or like when there's some sort of conflict or like an argument. Like I think sometimes people think of that, look at that as such a like a very negative thing, and actually like an argument or a conflict can be positive if people listen and verbalize how they feel and
Hmm.
allow that space of listening, and then you can understand. So then moving forward, you don't have those issues anymore. But sometimes I've had the experience here where people are like, nah, let's leave it alone. Let's leave. I'm like, no, let's not leave it alone. Let's like get it out, like so I can understand,
Yeah.
and so it doesn't happen again. Because then it's just gonna reflect that pattern. You're gonna feel resentment, or I'm gonna feel resentment at some point with this, and and we're not going to get anywhere with anything.
I'm gonna give a shout out to Renee, my woman Renee, because she's been on the show a few times, and
What up,
she
Renee?
is
Yeah,
a
she's in jail right
coach.
now,
Yeah,
right?
she's a therapist,
Yeah. She does tantric
and
work.
Tantra. But one of the things that I learned from her, and I told this to her, I had the privilege of telling this to her face, is that she taught me how to just be direct and say how
Yeah,
you feel, but do it in a kind way. Like I was saying,
yeah.
like Renee throws a lot of shade, but he does it so nicely that you're like, I might listen to this guy,
Yeah. She
right?
makes being rude
Yes,
seem polite.
it's so nice, and so, but I started doing this and just being way more just direct, but learning how to do it in the Brazilian way. And then I just started seeing, oh, things are kind of connecting a little bit more. So it's so nice when you just listen to the way the people talk, and then you kind of
One
do
thing,
figure it out.
one thing with that too, just because I have to work with a lot of people, so you're dealing with
Mm,
a lot of teams and stuff like that,
yeah.
and you have to realize and that's one thing I can credit to sports, and everybody's gonna have different personalities, different characters, and if you're a leader, you have to understand how to communicate and communicate healthy and effectively. Like you might be able to chastise someone like, hey, you need to do that better, da 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 da. But some other people are like, hey, what's going on? Like, let's talk about this. Like, how can you be more productive? Like, what are things that can we can do to support you to optimize and be the best version of yourself in your role?
Hmm.
And so everybody you have to kind of treat different and understand that too.
Yeah. Yeah. And here it's you talked a lot about being flexible, guys. There's a very famous phrase in Portuguese called jogo de cintura. And by the way, I'm
Mm.
gonna use this moment to tell you guys, be ready. We're gonna have like kind of like a Portuguese corner, Pete.
Uh-huh.
Kind of maybe bi-weekly or something like that, where we'll kind of give you some Portuguese phrases and ways to maneuver down here in Portuguese. So stay tuned for that. That's in the works. I'm giving you a little bit of
I got one thing to
spoiler
say
notes.
too. When you're
Yeah.
going back to talking about things to understand if you're coming down here too, is I can say this more for Rio than Sao Paulo because I've had different experiences with that going to Sao Paulo. Like, if someone's going to tell you they're going to be to meet at 9 o'clock, especially in Rio, don't expect them to be there at 9 o'clock.
Yeah, time is different.
No. Paulistanos are actually very punctual.
Yes, that's why I said it's different. That's why I was saying it's different. Yeah, that's exactly why I said that.
Yeah.
It's very different.
They got to be very flexible. I mean, but
Like
even but guess what? But then even in São Paulo is so big that it depends where.
Yeah.
Because here in the suburbs, it's more like maybe it is in Rio. Because I already know, because I don't like going to parties. So if somebody invites me to a birthday, I show up exactly at the time it says 8 p.m. and there's nobody there. I get to spend time with the birthday boy or girl, blah blah blah, do. And then as I'm leaving, people are arriving. Like I leave around 9:30, 10. That's when people start arriving at the 8 p.m. party. That's normal. That is normal.
Yeah.
But listen to this. We haven't heard this sound in a while, Pete. Look, have you heard this sound? Oh my God, what is that? Yeesh. You're in trouble now, Renee. You did it, bro. You did it. All right. So get ready, Renee. Listen, for first timers on the show, and I say first timers, expecting you to come back because I'm loving this conversation.
I'd love to come back.
We always do a little quiz, okay? Don't take it too seriously, but all those visa issues that you work very hard to resolve, we can make them all disappear. So be careful at the same time, okay? So quiz, kind of lightning round. Answer the first thing that comes to your mind, and we're gonna start. Let's not take too much time on it. Number one is, what is the best thing about Brazil?
You want me to start or you're starting?
Oh no, you go. These questions are for you. What is the best thing about Brazil?
Quality of life.
Explain. What do you mean by that?
One, I'll say right now, coming from America, being here, food, like you're getting authentic food, like food that's like organic food that you might have to go to a farmer's market or or another store that you'll pay exuberant amount of prices for that you can just go to a feta here and get. That's great. Also, weather-wise, I think just the way people live here, yeah, you can go through stress, but on the same note, people enjoy life here. I think, people want to live here, they want to have an experience, within that too. And I think culturalized, as far as connection with how families connect here and all that, obviously, yeah, every family's going to have their own dysfunctionalities and all that stuff. But I feel at the end of the day, there's a very much community and love, and I just feel a lot of people are very friendly here. So
there's a lot of positivity, Pete. Too much positivity. I think.
Got a question. It's funny how miserable and happy people are at the same time. I've never been in a country. I've lived in 3 other foreign countries, and I've never been in a country where people hate their country as much as Brazilians. But they love their family despite how much they hate them as well.
Yeah, it's very crazy. Anyway, it's a little dysfunctional. But anyway, Pete, it's too much positivity. What's your question? I think you got the next one.
Yeah, what's the worst thing about Brazil?
The worst thing about Brazil? Okay, let me think about this.
Yeah, it's a tough subject.
Infrastructure in Rio. Infrastructure. I just think that the systems, the way certain things are set up, could be more effective, and you can, you can just it could just be you could just work. Things could just work more effectively. And I'm a person that values time, and I think because you can lose money, you can lose friends, you can lose certain things, but I mean, but you can always regain that in somehow or another. Time you don't get back.
Yeah.
So I value time. So being able to value how you can use your time wisely here. Like sometimes I feel like you do a lot of extra stuff here that takes a lot of time, and it doesn't have to take that much time. So that's probably the worst thing I would say.
What is your favorite Brazilian food?
Um, I love feijoada, but I gotta say I'm a basic person when it comes to that. Like I love chicken, so I gotta say some frango passarinho.
Wait a second. That's delicious. Frango passarinho, guys, are these tiny, tiny nuggets, and as usual, when
It's
somebody
like chicken
mentions
chunks,
food,
fried chicken chunks.
I gotta show the food.
Yeah.
When somebody mentions the food, so you can
If
see
you
what
got
they're talking about.
if you have a good boteco that has frango passarinho, I'm good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is good. This is good. This is a classic down here in Frango Passarinho. I mean, it depends. Some butecos, man, they make it real nasty. Like
Yeah,
it's like,
that's a fact. That is a
yes,
fact. I was about
it's
to say,
like,
but when you find a good one,
yes,
yeah, like
yes.
sometimes I'll just go to a spot just for that.
Let me see. Let me see. Let me see here. If they have Feiyu, like, no, well, no, that's something else. That's not what I was looking for. I was just looking for an ugly one, like at a bad place. But yes, definitely. What's the next question, Pete?
Okay, flipping to the opposite. What is your least favorite Brazilian food?
um, I'm not a big. I like corn, but
The
I'm
corn
not
they sell on the streets, right?
I'm not a big fan of the corn in the street or like what they sell.
Yeah, that shit's bad, man.
Yeah.
I'm
It
not a
comes
big.
out the same way it went in.
I'm not a big fan of it. Like I think it can be kind of bland. And what's surprising for me here is, especially I could say in Rio, I haven't ventured out to all the different states in Rio, but I mean states in Rio and Brazil, but here in Rio, like I'm just very surprised sometimes how that.
This guy looks scary. We're watching me and Eduardo. We're watching the end of Breaking Bad. Guy looks like one of the characters. Looks like he's
So
cooking meth in that pot. In that pot there. Oh my
I
god.
get surprised sometimes
Yeah.
how
They're
Brazil has
aggressive
so
with
many
us.
great spices,
Yes.
but in a lot of places and restaurants they don't use the spices. And
No, Brazil. We had a cook on a few weeks ago, and yeah, like he was saying the same thing, man. Like Brazilians don't know how to do spice.
So I'll give a good
Or
example.
salt. They know how to do salt.
Yeah, so that's a prime example. So I just did had a churrasco on the beach for my birthday last Saturday, and I was cooking the food. But when I cook like all the chicken and all the meats and all that stuff, like I use spices. Like it doesn't have to be spicy, like hot. But and sometimes the people look at like, what is this? And then they taste it. They're like, oh, this is really good. I'm like, yeah. They're like, where'd you get this stuff? I'm like, Casa de Pedro, or like a regular market that has spices, or a feta. I'm like, you have all these spices here at your right at your hands, So yeah, I just think that I think people should take more advantage of all the great spices that are here.
I made Thai curry for a Brazilian girl I was dating, and I swear to God, she cried. And it was mild. It was the green curry. It wasn't like the red curry, which is the really spicy one. It was the green curry. And yeah, she cried. She had one mouthful and she spit it out. She couldn't take it.
Oh, so there was a guy. Okay, there's a good story. So the churrasco I did on Saturday. So we do them every year. So sometimes I'll do some jerk chicken on the grill, and and I won't make it too spicy, but it'll be a little spicy. So this one guy who sells he sells some food on the beach, and he asked if he could have some. I'm like, yeah, sure. This was a few years ago. So he had it, and he had the same experience. Like he was burning at the mouth with it. And so he came by the churrasco yesterday, Saturday, and he's like, "Oh no, mucho calor, it's too hot." I'm like, "No, this one's not hot." And I'm like, dude, you have like PSTD from that experience from 3 years ago. I was like, it's not the same thing, you know?
Oh my God.
But yeah.
Yeah, it's just that, and I think I told the story too about you got to be careful sometimes because just when you think it's not hot and then you get burnt, and that's happened to me because there
Yeah.
are some places that really like it spicy, like places like
Yes.
Sergipe.
Yeah.
Sergipe is like killer hot sauce, man. Like that
I got
is
some killer hot sauce here for sure. Yeah.
yes. I mean,
Yeah, but
Bahia is a
even
start.
like if you ask most people in Sao Paulo like what the spiciest food in Brazil is, most of them will say acarajé. And acarajé you could feed to a fucking baby.
Yeah, no, but don't go by those people. No, I agree, but you're going by like some people from São Paulo, and for them, Bahia is spicy. Bahia is spicier, but once you
That's
Yeah,
get
what I
into
but
the
heard.
real
acarajé
Northeast,
is Bahia food.
no, but once you get to the real Northeast, Pete, then you're gonna taste some spice. You
That's
gotta
what I
go
heard.
up,
That's
up,
what I
up,
heard.
up,
Yeah.
up, up, up. Bahia is like a start. It's spicier. I appreciate it, but yeah, it's like Pete said. You can acarajé, like a baby could eat that. It's not
It's
that hot.
yeah, because there's some places like sometimes I'll go to a restaurant and I'll ask for some hot sauce and then they'll be like, oh, be careful, it's hot. And then I taste it, I'm like, no, this is good, it's fine, no problem. And I'm
Yeah.
Caribbean, so I'm used to spicy food, and
Look at this.
I think Bahia has that same kind of a connection similar to the
Mm-hmm.
Caribbean as far as spice is concerned, like that.
Yes. Yes, exactly. It's flavored well. Look at
Yeah,
this. I speaking of spice, and then we'll get to the next one here, but I gotta share this.
all
My
right,
angry rants. My angry rants, guys. So I
go
ordered
for
some
it, get it out,
Indian food. I gotta
get
put
it
these
out.
people out there. I gotta put these people out there. There's a restaurant called Madrasi. You cannot order from this if you like Indian food. I got this food, and this is what I put as their evaluation. I said, Indian food with no spice and not spicy at all. And then the driver, the iFood guy, didn't even come to my door. It was raining, so he had made me go outside to go to the car to get the thing, which I
Wow,
thought was like, okay, what's going on? And then I said, this is the first and last time that I order food from this restaurant. Lucky me, I have curry and I have the red curry here at home to give this food a little bit of flavor. Thanks. Oh, and
well,
they had no naan. They had no naan. How do you have an Indian restaurant and not have naan? So
yeah, that's
do not
crazy.
order from this place called Madrasi Sabores do Sul de India. Like São Paulo has some wonderful Indian restaurant, guys. Like for real. Like
Yeah,
number
there are
one,
at least two.
this is
At least
not one of
two.
them. Yeah, this is not one of them. Do not order from them. That was a waste of money. Okay, at least it wasn't that expensive compared to some other places. But yeah, I guess you pay for
Well,
you
that's
get
why
what
it
you
was
pay for. Yeah, you
expensive.
get what you pay for in Brazil,
Yeah.
including this corn, which will fuck you up. See how I brought that back? Oh, I brought it back.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's go. What is your? I think it's my turn. What is your favorite drink? It could be alcoholic or non-alcoholic here in Brazil.
I mean, alcohol. I mean, I'm a beer person,
It
so I
doesn't
like
have to be alcohol.
No, yeah, it doesn't have to be either or,
um,
alcoholic or non. Because
non-alcoholic. I mean, I'm good for a sucro like um cashew juice.
ooh, I like that one.
Yeah,
Yeah, suco de
cajou,
caju.
cajou. Yeah,
Suco de caju. We've had a few people. Oh, what happened to my share screen? We've had a few people here say suco de caju because it is delicious,
it's
including me.
delicious. It's so
It's one of my
refreshing.
favorite juices down here.
Yeah,
Even the crappy version, like those ones that come in those crappy boxes. It's the only one that I can, yeah, like this maguaraya. Like it's horrible. It's trust me, people, it's not real juice, but is it? I
yeah.
just for it to be flavored like cashew,
Uh-huh.
it makes it go down a little easier. It's just less
I'm
poisony,
gonna plug this
tasty.
spot. There's a place in
Yeah,
a neighborhood in Rio called a neighborhood called Villa Isabel, and there's a restaurant.
yeah.
It's a black family-owned restaurant called Casa 123, and
Casa 123 in Rio de Janeiro.
with a K, with a K.
Okay, okay. There you go. Oh, there they are. Ah,
Yeah,
there you go. Oh, there you go.
they make the best juice,
Ooh.
and they make alcoholic drinks too with cashew in it.
Oh, nice. Let me follow them.
Yeah, follow them, and right next door to them, if you're into samba, there's a place called Taberna de Villa, and they have amazing samba there, 7 nights a week.
Cool. Cool. Oh, nice. And guys, if you want to follow me, I'm at Phil Ray OFC on Instagram. All are welcome. Uh, so yeah, the juices definitely win down here. Pete, I believe it's on you.
Yeah. Best place you visited in Brazil?
What?
Best place you have visited
Have
in
been visited
Brazil?
in Brazil? Um, I really like Uberlandia. I'm gonna say Uberlandia. I gotta say I like Uberlandia. It's low key.
Nice.
Yeah, I gotta see Uberlandia. I haven't. I'm going to Bahia this year. I haven't been there yet.
Let's see a little drone footage of Uber Lunge as you speak of it. Go ahead.
Yeah, but I'll say Uberlandia. Yeah, it's really cool. I really enjoyed myself there. It was chill.
Wow, it's beautiful. Huh?
Yeah,
How long did you stay here?
for about a year.
Okay. Wow. What is that? A lake or a pool? Oh no, it's like an Olympic pool in the middle of the city. Is that a
So
club?
because they don't have beaches there, they have a lot of pool clubs there.
Ah, I got you.
Yeah. We're
So
supposed to be getting that too,
pool
but it
clubs.
hasn't happened yet.
And it gets
Nice.
hot there too. But the difference is the weather during the wintertime it will drop. Like it does get down to like sometimes
Oh,
9 Celsius
Cluby.
sometimes in the morning, but it's different.
Right?
Like it'll be 9 Celsius in the morning, but then it'll get up to like 27 Celsius in
Yeah.
the afternoon or like 30 after that. So there's a huge fluctuation in the temperature though.
I can imagine. Wow. But it's a big city. Yeah. How many people there? About like
I
close to a
think
million or
it's
less?
600,000 or like about
Yeah.
600,000. Yeah.
That's a nice place. All right, I gotta take a visit. I haven't actually stopped in Minas yet, guys. This is something that I will
Okay,
change in my life very soon.
so if you're a foodie, you're gonna love Venus. The food is
Oh, of
great.
course, yeah.
It's
No, that
amazing.
that we get down here in São Paulo, so I
And
already
if you
know.
love cheese, you'll love
Mm-hmm.
it.
Mm-hmm. In cachaça, guys. So
Yeah.
well, yes. Once I learned what Minas cachaça was, I was like, oh, okay, this is a different drink than that.
Yeah.
Gasoline or
Take it
51.
up.
Guys, if you think, and the thing is, they market 51. Guys, do not buy 51 cachaça. They have tricked you. It's like down here in Brazil, how they make McDonald's all posh, and like
Yeah,
we're like those of us that know that like no, it's not right. So this
yeah.
is what they market this 51 cachaça like it's really posh up in the U.S. Look,
Nah.
147. Man, this is like what would you like? That's like when I was in college and I used to drink 20 ounces. You ever drink Old English? That's like
Oh
that's
man.
like drinking Old English. Old English.
I've had many a nights of old English in my college days for sure.
That's this. 51 is this, guys, and
Yeah.
people are paying like $100. I mean, I shouldn't say that, right? I'm probably busting somebody's game up right now. Oh my
I'm thankful
god.
I'm healthy and I'm living for drinking all
Yes.
this old English, man. Like,
Listen, yes. I mean, if you want your 51, 51, I'll give it credit to people who are buying and who are hustling it.
yeah,
It's great when you mix it into a caipirinha. 51 actually is a really good cachaça for that because it doesn't have a
yeah,
lot of flavor. It doesn't like attack it. And it'll give you like a basic, good caipirinha. But
yeah.
then when you start getting into like, this is my favorite. Espírito de Minas is where you should start.
Okay.
Espírito de Minas is like a big brand, like it's a major brand, so it's not like a micro thingy going on, but it's like higher quality. You can see by
Nice.
the color, it's got this
Nice.
golden color. You start from here and then your palate changes. That's when you go from like regular like Budweiser to like some craft beer. But like, a nice larger brewery. And then from there you start exploring the micro breweries, let's call it. And then you go on a trip, man. They have some delicious cachaças that you drink just straight, without mixing it.
Yeah.
The
Some of
same
the
way you drink
cheaper
a
ones
whiskey.
are really nice.
Phil,
Yeah, you drink
have
it
you
the
been
same way
to,
you drink a whiskey. It's delicious. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
yeah, no problem. Have you when you've come to Rio, have you been to Barter Cachaça?
No, you
Okay,
were
so
gonna take me.
that's a must, absolutely. So it's in Lapa. It's called
Yeah.
Barter Cachaça. they have hundreds of cachaças to try. Like,
Okay. Let
yeah,
me
so
see. Let
it'll be
me
right up
let
your
me
alley.
get this. Let me get that on the screen here. It's Bar
Bar de
da
cachaça.
Cachaça.
It's in
Uh,
Lapa. The name of Lapa.
our lightning round is a little bit Brazilian timing, but it's okay.
No problem.
Look at this. Bar da Cachaça. There you
Yep.
go. Beautiful. And
It's
this
a
is
staple place to go to in Lapa. Like, like a lot of people go there, and yeah, definitely, yeah. When you come here next time, for sure.
and I will give these guys a plug because this is when I really started my craft cachaça journeys to these guys in Vitória, Espírito Santos, and
Yeah.
every time I'm in Espírito Santos, I get one of these right here. It's worth every cent, guys. Look at this color; it's rosy
Oh,
color.
that
It is
looks nice.
delicious. I think I made an Instagram video about this cachaça. It is
Nice.
delicious. Okay, but drink moderately. Treat it like a whiskey, when you just have that little drop at the end of the night, just to, nightcap it. It's nice. Most overrated location in Brazil or thing in Brazil. What do you think, Renee? Most overrated thing, location. You're like, they talk that up too much.
Overrated.
Yeah.
I'll talk about Rio. I'll say LeBlanc. No.
Ooh, why LeBlanc?
I don't think there's really a lot to do there, and like I don't think you're gonna really get enriched in Brazilian culture in LeBlanc. Like, I mean, yeah, I mean it's a nice neighborhood and everything. That's fine, but I mean the beaches there are cool. But I mean, as far as like if you want to do something and get enriched in even carioca culture, you're not gonna get that. So, like, yeah.
I agree. Wait up, we're getting a little commercial here. Yeah, LeBlanc, for those who don't know, is considered like the rich neighborhood in
Yeah,
Rio de Janeiro. So I went there to see a show, like one of those review shows, carnival
yeah.
review shows. It was nice, but I agree with you. It's just like it's just a nice neighborhood.
And it's nothing. It has nothing. And my 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 reasoning of that has nothing to do with economical class. I just think culturally, like it's just not. There's
Mm-hmm.
you want to get something solely out of like getting rich in culture in like Brazil or in Rio. Like, yeah, you're not getting that.
Yeah, just a place to live if you happen
Yeah,
to have enough money
I mean,
to live
you
there,
have
and it
some
seems
nice
like a
parks.
nice place.
Yeah,
Yeah. Oh, I like this little park, but I feel you.
yeah.
All right, Pete, go ahead, bro.
Yes. Best place to chill in your city.
All right, best place
Uh,
to chill in Rio.
I gotta say, it's a toss up between Villa Isabel and it's tough. I got three: Botafogo and Lapa. Those three are my favorites to hang out.
Lapa, really?
Yeah,
I stayed in Lapa when I visited Rio, and honestly, I wasn't that impressed. Why do
you
you
have
like?
okay. So for me, it depends. I have like particular bars I go to, so it's not the whole part Lapa. So like, but you get a nice vibe. But I'd say more so Villa Isabel. I mean, especially if you
Villa
like samba.
Villa Isabel. Let me just put it here. Villa Isabel. That's this neighborhood here of Rio de Janeiro. So it's kind of an older neighborhood.
Yeah, and they have a samba school there. There's a
Uh-huh.
really nice bar named called Taberna de Vila, where if you really love
Uh-huh.
samba, like you will get top notch samba bands that play there 7 nights a week. I mean, bands that you could go to where you might pay like 100 reais, where this bar you walk into for free, and you'll get an experience. It's cool. And
Cool.
Botafogo has some really nice, cool bars. It's cool vibe. It's really laid back. So yeah, those are the spots I like.
Yeah, Botafogo. I've heard about the Fogo neighborhood. I don't know too many people that live there, but I know of the neighborhood.
Actually a nice place to live, and I
Botafogo.
would say even a place to live in Rio. I really love Flamengo and Catete.
In what zone is this? Is this still South zone? Or is this closer to West? Or I don't know.
Villa Isabella is in zona norte, the north zone.
Zona Norte. Okay.
Yeah,
All right. Yes, I know Zona Norte. Okay. Look at that.
and Madureira is nice too.
Madureira, that famous song is from there.
Yeah, I mean,
Anyway,
if you wanna get into like a lot of Black Brazilian culture, you should go there.
cool. So get out of the South Zone, people.
Yes.
Is it on me, Pete? I believe.
I believe
Uh,
it is your turn. Yeah.
all right. Well, I just mentioned Madureira, which is a famous song, Madureira,
Yeah.
right? So, what's your favorite Brazilian musician or band?
Um. Wow. I mean, rest in peace, Arnaldo Cruz. I mean, he was pretty dope.
Mm,
Um, group. I mean, on some hip hop, definitely much respect to Haitian Ice MCs and Kamal, who's a hip hop artist that's based in Sao Paulo. He's a pretty dope artist, and yeah, I mean those are like bands I could say. Also, Grupo Revelación.
oh,
Uh,
Grupo Revelação is really great.
yeah, yeah. Who else?
Guys,
Well,
what do you call it, recommended this movie various times here.
oh
Sorry
yes,
to cut off there, yeah, but the
yeah. Go ahead, go
Hassan
for it.
MC movie, if
Yeah,
you haven't seen it uh, yet, do it. They're not gonna let me show the whole trailer, but it's on Netflix there.
it's for
Yeah,
anyone
it's
here
probably
from
not even
America.
changed.
They're
Hmm.
kind of like an equivalent to NWA, like
Yes.
to sound like they were pretty revolutionary, like NWA. They're like that for Brazil, you know.
Yeah, very, very powerful band. I connect them a bit more with like Public Enemy.
Or public, I
You
thought they were Public
yeah,
Enemy. Yep, yep, yep.
yeah, because they're very political,
Yeah,
very. I mean, Manu Brown is
he's
incredible.
dope.
And yeah, in one of the great parts of the movie, I think is it Ice T that's down here to meet him.
Yeah,
I think Ice T even came down here to meet him, and it'll also give you a great history of São Paulo, of the
for
Capão
sure.
Redondo neighborhood, which was one of the most dangerous neighborhoods in São Paulo. Not anymore, but it's still not like the safest area. But you can walk around there, and it's chill, like comparatively. Um, but it gives you even like a little bit of that history and that politics behind that. And I think Pete's gonna get the last question in. Thank you for hanging in, Renee, and thank you
All
everybody
good,
that's
man. I'm enjoying it.
listening for
Yep,
hanging in.
all
We're
good.
almost done over here. We got
Of
one more real
course.
important question for you. And what is it, Pete?
Yeah, and it's the most important question, and that is what is the one word of advice you would give visitors to Brazil?
The one word of advice that I give. What? I'm sorry.
Visitors to Brazil.
Yeah, the people coming down. What's the word?
Um, I just say have an open mind and
Yes.
be curious. I have to go back to that. Like, be curious and have an open mind. You know, around that. You know, just I think that's important. And don't make comparisons. Just be present to what you're experiencing, and don't compare it to where you're from or any other places you've been. Like, just be in the moment with where you're at, and take it for what it is.
That's perfect advice. It's perfect advice. Okay. Definitely respect the country
The
that you're
respect,
in.
yeah, I like, yeah. I have to add that. Thank you. Yes, respect the country, because I feel like there are a good amount of people that come here that don't have that respect, and from entitlement to imperialism to whatever that is. Like, no, respect it, because like it is a very rich country on many, like, even on a level of finances, but also just culture, man. It's just so rich with it, and it's beautiful when it comes to that.
Exactly, exactly. And it's a lot to explore. It's a lot to
Yes.
explore. It'll take a lifetime to explore because it's a huge country too. And I mean, I've only been as far out as Brasilia and as far north as Salvador. Man, that's
Mhm.
nothing. That's like
Yeah.
saying I've been to Florida and I've been to like Boston, like there's a
Yeah.
whole lot of America you haven't seen.
Yeah.
So it's the thing.
Absolutely.
We got to have that open mindset down here.
And also, I'd say this about that, like, just to that point. Okay, like, so, like, maybe a lot of people's like starting point to end going to coming to Brazil might be Sao Paulo or Rio. Don't You can't base your whole experience or your whole perception of Brazil just on this one city, on those one or
Yes.
the two cities. Like,
Ooh,
Brazil's a
right.
huge country, so I had to catch myself sometimes, like, oh well, Brazilians this. I'm like, no, this is just maybe what people in this city do, but I can't generalize everybody who's Brazilian based off of that. Just like, Brazilians or anyone else can't generalize America just from people in New York or Philadelphia.
Yeah, the entire Brazilian film industry is based on stereotypes of people from different regions.
Yeah.
And, I've actually learned more about Brazilians from Brazilian film than I have from living in Brazil. Like this one guy, he's up for, well, he's not, but his movie
Mm-hmm.
is up for an Oscar, The Secret Agent, the one with
Wagner
Wagner.
Mora.
Interesting.
Yeah, yeah. But this director, Kleber, what's his face? Uh, all his movies take place in Recife, and I've
Interesting.
seen most of his movies, and his entire filmography is all about Recife culture. That's it. It's about
Interesting.
Recife. Um, so if you think just because you've lived in one place in Brazil for X amount of years and you know Brazil, no, you don't,
No,
because
absolutely
there's
not.
an entirely different place right next to you that you haven't experienced.
For sure. For sure.
This is
100%
very, very
true.
true. Very,
Yeah.
very true. So I like that. I like that. Respect the place you're in, guys. I'm gonna be, as you see across the screen here, I'm sharing the screen in all of your different social medias. But I'd like you to just kind of give us quick rundown, give us some plugs as you see them show up on the screen,
Absolutely. So
and what
yeah,
people
that's
will find in those pages.
Hip Hop Loves. Like, yeah, you can find us on Instagram at Hip Hop Loves, is what you see on the screen. Our website is www.hiphoploves.net. It's at Hip Hop Loves on X or Twitter, and also, and if you can look at my page, at my personal page on YouTube is René John-Sandy II, where you can find my Reflections of René series.
Why the second and not Junior?
I gotta ask my dad that question.
I just think it
Good
sounds
question. I asked my dad that
yeah.
question. Yeah.
That sounds
So
cool though.
yeah. So yeah. So that he did that. So yeah. So that, and I have RJS2enterprises.com. That's the website as well. It's kind of a soft splash page. Building out, and but you can get a lot of stuff off the YouTube channel. That's great. And yeah, that's those are pretty much, and my personal
No,
page.
but you also got this one here, which is the Hip Hop Loves Foundation.
That the Hip Hop Loves
Uh,
Foundation on
yeah, on
HHL
YouTube.
Foundation on YouTube. Yep, you can find like music
Yes,
videos that we've done, and
and
music
you
and
can,
our
and
work.
there's you on Instagram at Showboat92.
92. That's my personal Instagram
Okay,
page. So
and it's all
anyone,
connected here, so you can find Hip Hop Loves from there.
yeah,
Yeah, so it's all interconnected. Cool,
yeah.
cool, cool.
So
Very
yeah,
nice.
that's where you can find me. If anyone wants to shoot me a message or anything of that nature, feel free. I'll get back to you definitely at some point. It won't take too long, but as like I said in Brazil, have some patience. And yeah, I mean that's everywhere you can find my work, and the things I'm doing on a daily basis.
And are you still like? Do you offer still any type of classes? What are you doing on that end, as far as
For
with coaching and stuff like that?
Yeah, I do coaching, and I'm also doing okay. So even with RJS2 Enterprises, I do have a page, RJS2 Enterprises on Instagram. I just started that page too recently. So I do stuff like in the States, like credit repair, financial strategy, brand management, marketing and promotions, and also do some coaching and guidance for small businesses and just for individuals as well. So yeah, those are things I offer.
All right, I'm looking up here. RJ.
Yeah, S, then like two dots, like the small lowercase
R
I
R S. Oh, right here.
logo. Yeah, the bottom one, the bottom
The
one.
bottom one. All right,
Yeah,
cool.
with the
Let me
logo.
follow you here. Okay,
Yeah,
I
that
see
one.
that.
Yep.
All right, cool. All right, there you go.
Yeah, so that's that, and yeah, that's the stuff I offer. Then like if you're an organization or part of an organization or a school, you want to have workshops and all that stuff done. You know,
Cool, cool, cool. Oh,
yeah,
there you go.
Yeah, that has everything that that all the services right there. Perfect.
Awesome. Awesome. All right. Well, guys, I want to thank all of you. Oh, thank you, Life
Yeah.
is. There you go. He gave me the cue. He knows it's time to go. But thank you, guys. Yes, it was a great show. I had a
I had a
lot of
lot of
fun.
fun, man. That
I
was
had a
nice. Yeah,
lot of fun.
thank you guys, man. It was my pleasure.
Yes,
Love to come back if you want anytime.
Yeah, it was a treat, man.
it was real
We
fun. It
can
was real fun.
we can grab a topic to talk about. And chop it up.
Oh,
It's,
yes.
it's real good,
No,
man.
we haven't had a Brazil versus São Paulo debate in a while.
Rio.
I think, yeah, Rio. That's what I mean. Yeah,
So we can
sorry,
do that.
sorry. Yeah, so I think I got somebody to partner up with you, and we're gonna go through different topics and maybe how people do it in Rio versus how people do it in São Paulo. We haven't had one of those shows
For
in a
sure,
while,
I'd be down for
so
that.
that would be fun. That would be fun. So I'll write that up and get in touch. So, guys, thank you so much, everyone that's listening. Guys, I'm gonna kind of get in off mode in a second here, so I'm gonna mute you. But don't go away. Don't go away. Don't go away. Thank you, Renee.
Thank
Actually,
you.
sorry, guys. I'm muting you before you can say bye, because I'm about to say bye right here with my outro music, which I love. Hey guys, thank you for listening to the Brazil Expat Journal, the BJ you can trust. This was a fun show tonight, and next week I got something special for you next week. Okay, I'll let you know what it is. I got it, and it's special. That's all I'm gonna say. And if you liked the episode tonight, like, subscribe, and just keep the love flowing. Thank you, everybody that listened. Thank you, Renee, for coming on. Thank you, Peter, for coming on. And I think I'm gonna run out of outro music. I think I'm gonna end the stream right about now.